following podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Like what you hear? Want more of it ad-free, uncensored, and earlier? Sign up today at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and start getting more for as little as $2 a month.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for your main event, where news and opinions on the sport of kings collide. WrestleMedia is proud to present The Wrasslun Show.
Welcome to The Wrasslun Show, part of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything. I'm at Adam Conta. That's at Matthew Sukram. Before we jump into the show, including our exclusive interview with the #1 contender for the Northland Wrestling King of the North Championship, which will be taking place at Northland Wrestling's Feel the Bang this Saturday at the North Bay Curling Club. I want to talk a little bit about how you can help us and help you help yourself. Let's start off with our newsletter. We got a newsletter over at WrestleMedia.ca. You can sign up right now for free, and when you do, every week you're going to get something in your email box that'll give you the latest news and information that you need to know about the WrestleMedia revolution, and it'll allow you the chance to enter some exclusive contests we're doing, including one we have right now, where you can win 2 floor seats to the Chinlock Wrestling House of Hardcore event happening June 15th at the Leon Center in Kingston, Ontario. And hey, if you didn't know, we also have another section on our website called On Tour, and our next stop is Chinlock Wrestling. We are going to be there June 15th at the Leon Center for not just the show in the evening featuring a main event of Willie Mack versus Sami Callihan for the House of Hardcore Championship, but the Legends Convention featuring all kinds of incredible names, multiple Hall of Famers like Bret the Hitman Hart, Mark Henry, the Brainbusters, Tully Blanchard, and Arn Anderson, but also Billy Gunn, who just recently got inducted into the Hall of Fame, Jimmy Hart, another Hall of Famer, Swoggle, Tommy Dreamer, Fred Ottman, a.k.a. the Shockmaster, a.k.a. Tugboat. It's going to be an incredible event, and we want you to join us there as well. And one of the ways you can do that is by getting in on that newsletter. If you want to see where else we're going to be on tour, head over and click that button at WrestleMedia.ca, including June 29th. We're at Renfrew for the Queen Street Entertainment's live pro wrestling event featuring an incredible tag team contest. Tabernacle de Team, one of the best tag teams in Quebec and Ontario right now, taking on the NBA. That stands for something I can't repeat on our family-friendly shows, but it's the combination of Raheem Ali and Michael Von Payton, 2 incredible indie talents. Go and get your tickets for that show right now, and if you need to figure out how to do that, just go and visit WrestleMedia.ca for all of your information. All right, let's jump into the show. Matt, let's talk about Money in the Bank very quickly. I just want to get your letter grade for the show overall. What did you think?
A B-, because the stuff that was really good, and the stuff that wasn't was not.
Let's talk about highlights. What was your favorite moment from the show? That can be a match, that can be a vignette, it can be something that happened during a match, whatever, and give me your low light. What was the biggest high spot and the lowest heat?
The spots in both ladder matches, some of the big spots that they were able to pull off. The stuff with Ali and Andrade, the stuff with Andrade and Balor in the men's match. Naomi looked great in the women's match. Bayley and Nikki Cross looked really good in the women's match. They put together some really, really good spots that just kept the pace moving in both those matches, because we've seen so many ladder matches. It's kind of like, okay, what are they going to do this time to keep me entertained? And I think it's always impressive. This doesn't, I don't mean this to come off misogynistic, but anytime the women can pull off a match like that, I'm always impressed, because they haven't done it as many times as the men have. So it's kind of like that I'm not expecting them to do it, but I'm impressed when they do. Does that sound misogynistic?
No, I understand what you're saying. And I think the reason you're saying it is a positive one, which is because it shatters that stereotype.
Yes, that's what it is, because I'm just like, oh man, they're not going to do, they went there, they did that. That was that's a hardcore spot, that you haven't seen women in WWE do before.
I loved the ladder match, and I loved Bayley winning the SmackDown title even more. That was probably My highlight, I'm not going to go into detail with that just yet because I'm going to save that for Women Crush Wrestling later on this week. If you haven't yet checked out our show, keep your ears open for that.
That whole angle was a highlight for me too.
They really did well.
They made Lacey Evans look good. And then the fact that, Charlotte came out right after, I liked that. It got the heat that was necessary, and then Bayley just brought it all right back. I liked it. That was on a night where some of the storytelling was very questionable. That was a great story.
What was your low light for the show?
The end.
Okay. You didn't like the big surprise return?
No.
Okay. I liked it, but I understand why people didn't like it. For me, it's a toss-up between Sami Zayn getting pulled from the match.
I was going to go there next.
Because I love Sami Zayn. And also, Shane McMahon winning again! I hate to sound like a mark on this, and maybe it just means that they're doing something right, because man, oh man, was I ever like, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? But maybe that was the idea they were going for. But I'll tell you something, I was not happy with it at all because of that. So yeah, the Miz Shane McMahon beats the Miz again, makes him look pretty bad, and then
I'm at a loss for words now because I don't understand it. The Miz works his butt off to finally get over as a true babyface, and now you're having him lose to Shane McMahon.
And hey, speaking of getting screwed, if you were going to order the Double or Nothing pay-per-view this Saturday, and the reason you were buying it was for Pac versus Neville, woo, did you get screwed this week? So, this was an interesting story. Nottingham, England was the place in which Pac was there to wrestle for a show, for a company. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Point was, Adam Page showed up, which was very interesting. Mm-hmm. Now, AEW's been doing this gimmick for a while. They've been showing up at random indie shows to promote AEW, which is a cool marketing.
Great idea.
Cool marketing. Basically, they had a match. They said, okay, we're not going to wait for Saturday. We're going to get this on now. Now, which is really cool if you're there. Not so cool if you're like, hey, I was going to put down $50 to watch this thing on Saturday, and now it's being given away for free. So let's talk about the story behind the match, because that's what's interesting. All right, so initially it all seemed as a way to hype their upcoming match at Double or Nothing, but in actuality, the match for the pay-per-view had been called off, and this was AEW writing it off. Now, I'm going to come back to that in a minute, and why I hate this whole thing. It was reported that the cancellation was due to creative differences. So, Pac is Dragon Gate champion right now. Dragon Gate's a company in Japan, if you're not familiar. They didn't want him to lose the match while he is the Open the Dream Gate champion, which is their top prize. So while he's the Dragon Gate champion, Dragon Gate was like, he has to be undefeated. He cannot lose a match while he's the Dragon Gate champion.
He hasn't lost in 20 months.
So he said in the promo before the matchup, yes. Now, AEW had other ideas about how they wanted the match to go. Obviously, Adam Page is one of their guys, and he's going to be a big part of he's going to be a pillar for the promotion. So they kind of wanted him to go over, right? So that's fine. So they were like, they're going back and forth on it. And here's where apparently it stems, is that AEW did not want a tie or a DQ because they want wins and losses in their matches. This is so stupid, Matt. I am so
Are you angry at
mind-boggled.
Everybody?
Almost everybody, yeah.
Maybe not Adam Page.
No, I feel bad for Adam Page.
He's the guy that's just
I mean, I guess I can't feel bad for him. He's going to get a new opponent on Saturday, so he's still going to wrestle and likely going to be put over because clearly they want to put him over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's going to be fine. I'm upset at everybody's stupidity in this whole situation.
Being a bunch of teenage
Well, let's break this
losers.
down step by step. So, first of all, we're a week from the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Who decided that, okay, well, here's the finish now? Where was this discussion weeks ago or months ago?
You think a company
they set the
being
match
run,
up in the winter, in January or February.
You think a company being run by wrestlers would have
discussed a finish?
I wonder if they almost went, okay, have we got Pac? Yeah. Have we got Adam Page? Okay, cool. Well, let's book that and promote that. Okay. Pac, we're going to want Adam Page to go over. Yeah, let me think about that. I'll get back to you in a couple weeks. Adam Page, you're still good to show up, yeah? Okay, we're still gonna put you over. Okay, cool. All right. Pac, it's been a couple of months. What do you think? I think you're gonna have to talk to my guys at Dragon Gate because I don't know if they want your guy going over. Okay, guys at Dragon Gate, can we have Pac lose on our show? Nope. Oh my God, is the match a week away?
Look at the time. Where did that happen? Yeah, it really does feel like it kind of got forgot to the last minute, and they're like, oh, I guess we got to scramble for this. I don't know how this happened, but I got to tell you, it seems like such a simple solution. What is wrong with a draw?
That's where I was hoping you were going to go with that, because that's what I was thinking too. Like,
here's the thing.
Cares?
Here's the thing.
And it builds up more intrigue. You can do a dusty finish.
Well, I mean, look, first of all, the idea of like, we don't want our guy to lose as the champ, that's stupid.
That's so stupid.
It's so stupid in this day and age. I hate that idea.
For a traditional wrestling territory like Japan that still holds that,
okay,
I get it.
So here's the deal then. Dragon Gate says to Pac, don't bring the belt.
Yes, exactly.
Don't
promote us.
And tells AEW, don't advertise him as the Dragon Gate champion then, if you're going to do that.
Talk about him as a free agent.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, if you're just going to be like, well, we want a strong working relationship with these guys, then just do a draw. Mm-hmm. What? Like, I can understand this idea of like, we want clean finishes and stuff like that. Why? Why is it that so important? Do wrestling fans really get that upset at draws? Like, look at some of the other 30-minute matches that, Pac did with the Will Ospreay one, the Jack Sabre Jr. one. My buddy Aaron used an Okada match with Kenny Omega as a great example. Matches with draws can be amazing.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about, a company that wants to inspire wins and losses in sports feel. There's draws. Like, draws really happen in the real world of sport. It's such a stupid thing in my mind. Now, that being said, I will give them credit for saying, okay, we couldn't give you the match as advertised on pay-per-view, so we're going to go out of our way to give it to you for free. It is a bad, stupid business decision, but I will give them credit for doing the right thing.
They might be thinking, we just have to cut our losses here, though.
Clearly, that's what they think.
And we don't. People are going to be pissed off about this already. Let's try to get some positivity surrounding it, because we're already making them mad.
Could you imagine the heat that WWE would get if they pulled something like this?
Did something at a house show instead of
right, or if the reason was, well, we don't want to do a draw. Like, can you imagine the outrage? They're like, oh, you just suck it up. I don't like it at all.
Remember when Kevin Owens came up and he was still NXT champion and he went up against Cena? Can you imagine if Vince was like, okay, here's how it's going to go. John Cena is going to go over him at SummerSlam, and then we move on from there. And Triple H goes, yeah.
But he's our champa.
And I don't know if we want the NXT audience to see him take a pinfall. Vince was like, all right, pal, how about we have them in a draw? And then he drops the NXT title, and then next month we have Cena kick his ass.
Well, that would have been the smart thing. Yeah, man, I just got to say, I just think the whole thing is terrible. At one point, I heard that the whole creative differences thing was a way to hide a visa issue that Pac was having, which to me, I hope is really just a stupid rumor, because if that is the case, that is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard, even more stupid than the actual story, because instead of saying to the audience, well, there was an issue with his visa, so we can't put on the match as promised, they're like, no, let's make up a story in which we couldn't decide a finish for this fake wrestling show you were stupid enough to watch, because it's not real, it's all made up, and nothing matters. It's whose wrestling move is it anyway, where the finishes are made up and the wins don't matter. I just think that it was it's not a good move. I disagree with it.
A visa issue would be more understandable out of any of that.
Sure would.
Then you turn it into a political announcement. If you want the European guys wrestling here, go to your local municipality office, go to your local city hall, and tell them to grant Pac a green card. Yeah, it's
Or conversely, go chant "Build the Wall" over at your local municipality, and then they're like, "That makes no sense. There is no border between us and England whatsoever." And then you're
well,
like,
there already is. It's called the Atlantic Ocean.
"Yeah, but that's not a wall. That's water." It's a water
Depending
wall.
on what kind of a vehicle you have, it's a pretty damn good wall.
I guess that's true. Can they swim? What? Can British people swim? Yes. Not good enough then.
You know, it's funny though, when watching the Pac and Paige match, every time the crowd started chanting that B word, all I could think of is the final scene in Austin Powers, the second one.
Right.
He goes, "You really are a."
You can say it. It's fine.
You really are a bastard who is fat. It's one of the best lines in the movie. That's all I could think of during that match when the crowd was chanting it at Pac.
So speaking of the match, I guess we should talk about it, right? I mean, hypothetically, this is the match we would have gotten at the pay-per-view on Saturday, right? So what did you think of the match?
It was good. And look, it finished in a no finish.
Yeah, it was a DQ.
Paige technically won.
He did, by disqualification.
And there was confetti, and everyone came out of the locker room and lifted him on their shoulders, but he didn't take the title home.
Nope. It was like Lex Luger and Yokozuna in 1993 all over again. All right, so maybe not the best comparison if we're trying to make our point here about it not being such a bad thing.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's just like, why couldn't you have done that at the pay-per-view?
Well, I wouldn't have done the big celebration.
No, I'm just kidding. That never actually happened.
Oh, okay, good.
No. See, what happened?
You watch an extended cut? I didn't remember any of that.
No, so you get the dusty finish.
Right.
With Pac kicking the referee below the belt.
Yes.
He gets disqualified. Paige wins.
Mm-hmm.
But then Pac gets back into the ring and beats the crap out of him with a chair, and then says, "I'm not coming to AEW because all I wanted to do was kick your ass, and now that I've done that, that's all I wanted to do, so see you later."
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have just done that?
I don't know.
At Double or Nothing.
I don't know.
You don't even need the chair spot afterwards. Just have Pac kick the referee below the belt, and then give Paige the finger like he did, and then walk away.
And then you can work that to bring him back when he's eventually dropped the Dragon Gate Championship. Big swerve. He's going to be champion for like 17 years. He'll be defending it when he signs back with WWE. They're making him defend it at 205 Live.
But he can't lose.
That's the deal. Oh, boy.
That is what is the most baffling thing to me out of all that, is that they did a dusty finish at the show anyway.
Wrestling is so dumb. Thank God I love it, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you love the thing, as our wives are proving, sometimes something is dumb, but you still love it, you know?
Yep.
Cats, dogs, husbands, it happens.
And
pro wrestling.
And pro wrestling.
We had a chance to talk to someone who's not dumb. That's Cadman Turner. Very smart individual, very, very big individual, huge mofo. And, I got to tell you something. He's a big interview, too. Great stuff out of him. We had a chance to talk to him actually prior to his WWE Performance Center tryout. We actually talked to him the night before he flew out to Florida, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. He, of course, this Saturday will be taking on Lionel Knight for the Northland Wrestling King of the North Championship, the biggest prize in all of the Gateway City. And it's going to be a great contest. I'm sure both of these guys are tremendous talents. You and I are going to be there calling the matches. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. Hopefully as much fun as I did talking to Cadman. For those of you listening to the free version of the show, here's a little taste. For those of you who supported us at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, here's the full thing. Whatever version you are choosing, enjoy. Hey, this is a commercial for patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, where you can get early access to episodes of your favorite WrestleMedia shows. Get full uncut and uncensored versions of your favorite shows and more. Don't want to hear this commercial on your podcast anymore? Sign up at our main event tier and get these episodes ad-free. Want to hear your own commercial here instead of ours? We've got tiers for that too. Visit patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and join the WrestleMedia revolution today. I'm pleased to be joined on the line by Cadman Turner, a guy who was making waves all over the place, not just here in Canada, but in Australia, all over the world, and specifically in Orlando recently. Cadman, how are you doing tonight, my man?
I am great. Thanks for having me back. This is my second time round. You must like me.
We do like you very much. Of course, you did an episode of Calling Spots previously, and we encourage all of you listeners to go back into the archives of WrestleMedia and check that out. Cadman, I do have a specific question. Where is it that we are contacting you tonight? Are you in Canada? Are you in Australia? Are you in Florida? Where are you at, man?
In Toronto right now, but I'm getting the 6 a.m. flight back to Florida tomorrow morning. So
this is pretty crazy. Of course,
busy man.
The reason that you are going down to Florida, in case you've been living under a rock, it's because Cadman has earned himself yet another WWE tryout, which is absolutely crazy. And I can't tell you how happy everyone at WrestleMedia is for you and this incredible opportunity. Tell us about getting the call saying that you're going to get another shot.
Well, it was interesting. It's sort of like I heard a whisper a while ago about it. Like anything with wrestling, it goes quiet.
Sure.
So then you think, well, I heard yes, and then it goes 3 months, and you don't hear anything. So you're like, well, it's obviously not happening. So you just go about your life like as anyone would. But I was training myself in the mindset that I was going no matter what, which ended up being lucky because, 4 weeks before the tryout, I get the call saying I'm going. So it worked out well that I'd been training like a madman for 4 or 5 months beforehand.
So when you had that mindset, I mean, it clearly gives you an advantage because you're ready to go. You don't have to try and suddenly whip yourself into the best shape of your life. You're already there.
Yeah. Like, I don't mean to put myself over, but I'm in phenomenal shape right now. Like, my cardio is the best it's ever been. Like, I look the best I've ever been. I'm the strongest I've ever been. It's just all falling together in the right places.
Let's talk about that physical transformation because back in the spring, you started trying out some new stuff. We started to see some of the results of that. Tell us about what brought on that change and how you went about achieving it.
I added in, like, it's boring, unfortunately, but I added in a lot of strenuous cardio. Did a lot of, like, HIIT sessions, so high-intensity stuff, and then also once I got the call for the tryout, I was doing, like, an elliptical cardio for an hour a day, 5 to 6 days a week. Wow. On top of like the HIIT training, on top of weight training, on top of wrestling practice. So I think I counted. I was working out 15 times a week. My goodness. For at least an hour a shot. So, some days I'm working out 3 hours. Which, like, don't get me wrong, it was tough. Like, even now I'm still sore, like, from week 1 of training, but it's going good. But so going into the tryout, then when we got there, it was lucky because, we were doing 3-hour training sessions. So, like, one session of the tryout, one block of the tryout was 3 hours long. Wow. So, and it's like 3 hours long of, like, you're not stopped. It's the hardest, most intense physical thing you'll ever go through in your life. And, like, a lot of people broke. Like, we had people dropping out within 30 minutes. Really? Because they weren't prepared. Yep. And then, we had, like, world-beating athletes, like professional fighters, professional Olympians. What else we had? Like NCAA swimmers. And then all the football guys and that sort of stuff. But, at the end of that bag drill on day 1, he had all those guys run to the door puking, just, like, violently vomiting because it's so hard. Tell us a little bit about
how. A lot of fun. Tell us about how the training differs in terms of when you're getting ready for the tryouts. You've been there. You know what to expect a little bit. Are you doing bag drills? Are you doing the things that they put you through the paces for? Or are you training in a different way to kind of shock your system?
I'm doing both. When I was in the ring, I would train, do WWE style drills like called the Brookside Shuffle. You do grape squelches, that sort of stuff. When you had a group of people, because whenever you're in the ring, that stuff's valuable. It's all footwork, it's all whatever. But when I couldn't be in a ring, it's not that I live far from a wrestling ring. Like I only live like 30 minutes from Battle Arts without traffic. But I mean, sometimes I can't be bothered fighting with the traffic. It's an hour long,
Sure.
So instead of getting in that cardio in the ring, I'd hit the gym and I'd just do like burpees and like box jumps with burpees, like crazy stuff that would just always injure people. I swear, I got to the point where I was just in so much pain that I had to taper off a little bit. But I had a rest for a couple of days and then got back into it. So I survived. Anyone can survive.
Clearly,
anyone can push their body to the max. That's the one thing I learned from this experience, like how far you can drive and how far you can drive your body into the ground and you just bounce back. Like don't get me wrong, I was hurting after day one, but come day two and after the warm up and whatever, I was firing all cylinders, ready to go.
There he is, Cadman Turner, Big Country, as he's known across our country and his home country. Whatever country he travels to, whenever Cadman Turner's in a country, it's a big country, especially flavor country.
Everything's bigger with Cadman.
It should be a T-shirt.
I know.
Cadman,
bring us on, Cadman.
Call us, man. We'll help you with the marketing. All right, that's going to do it for us, man. I think there's no better way for us to end the show. Great interview, unless there's something else you want to chat about.
That was Collingwood.
Oh, well, Collingwood was fantastic. We had a good time there. We talked a bit about that on last week's show. This past weekend, I was in Aurelia for the Comic-Con, which was a great time. I talked a little bit in depth about that over on Wrestling.
Cottage Country Comic-Con, not Collingwood.
No, see, if you'd been keeping up at WrestleMedia.ca.
See, you're busy, so I can't even keep track of where you are on the weekends.
This weekend, I was over in Greg Valentine country, which is also a big country, because that dude, he works out still. And it was great sitting there chatting with a legend, getting to hear some road stories. We are going to have some of that interview up for you, patrons, coming up very, very soon. So make sure, if you want to hear some great stories from Greg the Hammer Valentine about working with Jimmy Hart, his favorite territories to work, hanging out with the Hart brothers when they were little tiny kids, and his favorite road partner. Boy, that's a doozy. Make sure you sign up at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca to hear that. It's a lot of fun. It was a great time to get a chance to interact with him and the Northland Wrestling crew who were with us. Don't forget, if you're in the area, please go ahead and get yourself some tickets to Feel the Bang. It's going to be an incredible show. Tomer Shalom, Dan Jarrus, I Quit match. Winner gets control of the company. Matt and I will be there. Come on over. Say hi to us. We'd love to interact with you folks. In the meantime, I think that's about it. So we just want to thank you for listening to us today. Please support the show. If you have the opportunity to rate and review us, please do so. We like 5 stars and great reviews, but heck, we'll take any feedback at this point. We're pretty desperate, so go ahead and do that. Of course, we'd love for you to share this podcast with a friend or family or enemy, whoever you can that likes a little bit of wrestling and even more wrestling discussion, okay? We also want you to sign up for our WrestleMedia newsletter over at WrestleMedia.ca. We'll get you all that news, and you can sign up for that cool contest for Chinlock Wrestling tickets. Don't forget to check us on the road. Next stop is June 15th, man. Chinlock Wrestling, House of Hardcore, the Legends Convention, and then Renfrew, June 29th. Ooh, I think that's just about it. I showed everything we need to. So then just thank you for listening, and thank you, Matt, for being on the show this week. Until next time, you know what to do. Listen, share, subscribe, repeat.
This has been a presentation of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything.
Here's what you're missing out on right now over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. How close to your gimmick are you? Is that how much of that is really you?
I just don't wear a hat in day-to-day life.
Oh, so the hat is pretty much the only gimmick thing. Everything else is pretty true to the real Cadman Turner.
Yeah, cowboy boots, the music, the belt buckle, everything. I love it.
The dance moves as well?
Oh, yeah, the dancers especially.
Want more? Sign up now at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.